Hello Internet and welcome to the Samantha and Ace special of the Gabe and Abel Happy Hour. My name is Ace and joining me here today we have, I don't even know how to even begin to introduce you, but you're a muse to some people, you're a master animator to others, but I'm proud to say my friend. Anyway, it's Samantha Youssef. Samantha, how are you doing?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Good, yeah, I'm really good. So, you've got a book coming out.
I do.
Dependent on a few people who are listening right now who need to go on Kickstarter and find your thingy.
It would be nice.
So basically, Samantha, for those who don't know, she was on a podcast of ours a while back. And Samantha is an animator. She worked at Disney for a number of years. Worked with characters such as the little baby Tarzan. Lilo, I think.
Lilo,
I think you did maybe potentially one scene with Stitch, was it? Did you do like one scene with Stitch? That counts. Yeah. And Curious George, and I think you did. Did you do George on Curious George?
I did do George on Curious George.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I really love that. I actually love. I've watched it a few times back now. I think the first time I watched it was last year sometime, but I've watched it a few times now because obviously having a little daughter, she loves it, and I love the fluidity of George actually, because he moves like a monkey, but kind of not like a monkey in a way. It's really, he's got a really fluid motion. It's really nice. Yeah. He's got I absolutely love that film.
There were some great animators too that worked on Curious George. It was a really cool team. I really liked working on that movie. It was really fun.
Was it done? It's done in Canada, wasn't it?
It was done. I believe that there were 3. If I'm right in remembering, I think there were 3 studios that the work was partitioned between. I believe, but I don't officially quote me on this, even though now this is going on the internet. I believe that it was done. Some work was done in Florida by a team of the former Disney animators from the Florida studio, because at that point it had been closed. So there were still some people there that had a studio, I think. There was some being done in Los Angeles, because I know that James Baxter, who I've always idolized, had worked on it as
phenomenal.
Well. Yeah. Brilliant animator, and then I know that we were doing some in Toronto at a studio called Yowza Animation. So I think because we'd see everyone's shots, like we'd have these dailies where kind of video conferencing and stuff, and we'd get to see what everybody else was doing. So I know that there were, I believe, if I remember right, it was among those three studios.
Yeah, because I think Yowza, didn't they do all the cleanup on Princess and the Frog?
They did, yeah. And they did some work on Enchanted as well, and everything. No, they're a great studio. I think they. I'm not sure what they're doing now as far as 2D goes, but they've always been really passionate about it. So whenever they have the opportunity to do 2D stuff, they try to keep doing it. But they have to do other things to stay alive and stuff.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
But really passionate people.
The other exciting thing, talking about 2D as well, and another crowdfunding success, is that you're working on Hullabaloo.
I am.
Which is really cool.
It's really cool.
It's cool. Like the sort of list of like people who are working on Hullabaloo. It's like a list of like top 10s. Like when you Google like top 10 animators, or top 10 this, top 10 that, or top 10 living this, and it's like that. It's got some crazy people on it. It
does. I'm really excited to be on it, because it's kind of I don't know, until 2D sort of took a change of direction, like the industry's not really doing so much 2D anymore. And that's all I wanted to do, that when I was in school, like I didn't see my life being anything but working in 2D feature for the rest of my life. And a lot of 2D that's done now, it's more like Flash or really limited style 2D. So it's really exciting to be able to work on something with these guys. Like this is what I wanted to spend the rest of my life doing. So to have the opportunity again is really, really cool. Very talented people.
Yeah, it's all, like I say, it just sounds like a list of just like crazy. Because you've been doing like some of the character design stuff, am I right? As well,
visual development as well. That was really cool. I mean, James seemed to. I'm grateful. He liked my work, and I got to do some viz dev for it, and I'm still going to continue to do some visual development because we'll be doing a few shorts. So yeah, definitely I want to keep
No,
that
yeah,
up.
that's awesome because
It's super fun.
yeah, because your style, you've got like with your own personal work, which people can check out at samanthasketches.blogspot.com. Is that right?
That's right. That's
Yeah,
me.
they it's got a very like you style to it. Youssef style. Whoa, mind blown. It's got like you've got like a really distinct style to your a lot of your stuff, which I absolutely adore that style, and that just works perfectly for the Hullabaloo stuff. I think it's a really good like amalgamation of what you do with this stuff. I think it's like a perfect like casting for it.
Thanks. Yeah, I mean, I've always it's kind of been cool to do stuff for Hullabaloo because I've always just done 2D animation. So getting into doing my own like character work, visual development work. Like I've always drawn and animated, but I never did like I just did that for myself. So it's kind of cool to be able to do it on a project too. You know, not just be an animator, but do that kind of
that's great.
development work and everything. Contribute. It's
but enough
cool.
about Hullabaloo. They're successfully funded. Like scrap that off to the side. You've got your book, which is the Youssef Syllabus. Is that what it's called?
Well, yes. So it's the book is movement and form, and it's so I just labeled it the Youssef Drawing Syllabus because it's basically based on my courses, which you know, and so movement and form is like the first course, and then there's going to be the anatomy one, which is like the second course, and then the portfolio and design one, which is like the third course. So together, the 3 books eventually will be like the complete syllabus. But you know, like the courses, each one can stand on its own, and so this one is really about posing, getting like understanding gesture, understanding body mechanics, posing, building the drawing, and then building structure into the figure, and then also having that sense of design so that the poses and the drawings are really aesthetic. So that's so it's movement and form, part of the Youssef Drawing Syllabus.
So like I know like the horrible question, why is your book different from other kind of like figure drawing books out there and everything like that? Because I know like obviously actually I have an answer which I think will maybe be what you say. Now I'm going to see what you say first. I have a feeling of why your book would be different.
Oh no! I mean, I have to go first, and then we're going to compare.
Of course. I mean, you're not going to be cheating and nicking my answers. You can't do that.
Okay, well, I can answer that because I've actually had to answer that, like with some publishers and stuff. But I think the main thing that's different that I can confidently say that's not up to subjective interpretation, because you know there's different forms of gesture and approaching gesture drawing. The one thing that's different about my program is that it's the only one, and I've got hundreds of books at home, it's the only one out there that bridges the gap between a gesture and a structured image. So, and that's why it works for 3D artists as well, because they can understand those principles of gesture and put them into a 3D rig. So a lot of drawing books, they might talk about gesture and it works by itself as a gesture, but they can't bring life into their final drawings, or they could do really, really great structured anatomical drawings, but they're stiff and they can do one or the other, or they can do both, but they don't connect the two in the middle. So I think that's the main thing that makes it particularly unique, is that I actually have a step that bridges, because it's a progressive method, it will bridge that gap. So I think that's the main thing. And it goes into a little bit more about movement and design and purposeful movement, I think, than a lot of other books that are out there. So I don't know if that helps.
Do you want my answer now?
Yes, I do.
You can steal it for future interviews if you want. The reason why I think your sort of stuff stands out, cause like you, I've got just a ridiculous amount of books. I was organising through my stuff the other day, and I've got like my unread art books thing and my read, and my unread one's like longer than my read one. I just buy. It's like a bit of a weird addiction for me. I just buy like.
I won't judge. I do the same, but I read them.
No, I do read them. But I buy in more like. In the space I can read one book, I'll buy 5. But I'm getting to my limit of books to buy now. Luckily, I backed your thingy on
Oh,
day one,
good. Just
obviously.
before you hit the limit.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Oh,
that's I'm capping it now.
thank you.
Um, but yeah, I think the reason why your work, not just your teaching method, your work and everything else stands out from, say, I mean, like the two kind of bigger kind of like figure books and stuff that people call is obviously the Loomis. Sort of Andrew Loomis's kind of method, the Ben Hogarth kind of thing, and those two, like Loomis is he was an illustrator. Ben Hogarth, I think he was like a cartoonist, wasn't he, an illustrator? I think he did.
Book artist or
Yeah, he did
something.
like the Tarzan thing. I
Yeah,
think.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, both great methods and great books. But I think where yours differs is the fact that because you're coming from an animation and a movement actual background, the figures that you draw have got a lot more motion, a lot more movement, and actual life in them because you're used to actually animating them and bringing them physically to life on the screen. And I feel like that's why your drawings like stand out from there. They're a bit more stiff. The other kind of like books and everything. They're still great. I mean, amazing right. Artists and everything like that. But you also just got a bit more flow and kind of like
Thank you.
a bit more life to it, which I feel like is because you've got that huge grounding in animation that kind of comes through.
I think so. I hope so. I mean, I think that's the main thing that because I've done a lot of academic drawing training, and then that's taking the best of what you've learned in your own life. That's what I've tried to put into this book. And yeah, I feel that there is that disconnect in the academic drawing that animation drawing has, but nobody's ever really brought them together.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
They did, in our training at Disney, like, because you have this internal academy kind of thing, like we would have workshops with different artists, different animators or bringing in outside artists and stuff. And so, with all of the different workshops that you're exposed to, you kind of build this base in yourself, but nobody's ever really taught it or put it down to make it accessible.
There's some great, of Disney teachings and stuff, obviously with Waltz, but the Drawn to Life. Yeah, is that right?
Yeah.
But that's, I mean, there's some amazing like lessons in there, but it's not a cohesive course, if you get what I mean. It's not like they're like lessons that he used to bring to obviously established animators who are working at Disney already and said, look, we can inject this into your life and your life drawing and everything like that, which they're amazing. I mean, like that, both of them books are just like a fountain of just amazing information, but they're not like a structured, like cohesive, like right, here's how you start. You know what I mean, that kind of thing. Which
no, that's it. They're already assuming that you're established. They assume that you already know how to draw.
Because obviously he didn't intend this to be a book. They were just lectures. Right. I mean, I think he died before the books even came out, didn't he?
Yeah. That's it. They were weak. Like, he used to come in and teach at Disney, so he'd bring in, like, every week he'd have some photocopies that he's like, this is what we're going to talk about this week. And then I think when they compiled the book, they tried to create some kind of cohesiveness between all the photocopied handouts that they had. But, like, I have a binder of, like, before those books came out, I had a binder that, we were all sharing at Disney or something, like people were photocopying it and sharing it. Yeah. So I've got his notes also, and they're kind of different from the books because they weren't in the same order and they weren't...
and they're not being edited and everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So no, that's awesome. I bet they're hard to read because they've been like Xeroxed like 1,000 times and like they're just like, well, what even does that say? But
that's exactly what they are.
That's kind of like... So that's another thing. I feel like you're bringing that culture of what exists in animation, what exists in or existed in probably still today. I don't know, but within Disney and everything like that, where it's just they wanted to just share constantly. No one was like, I feel as an outsider who's obviously read a lot about Disney and listened and read a lot of interviews with animators. It was a very open. Everyone wanted everyone else to succeed. It wasn't just about like I'm gonna be good. Everyone just wanted to share and everything like that. And I think, in fact, there's very few actual professions that are like that. It's where people are like I want this information. Whereas I think the especially the 2D days, I think it was a very unique thing where everyone just wanted the medium to get better, which it did.
Yeah, I think so. I mean,
and
I
then
think I guess
crashed.
it depends where you are, you know, like I think when you're in a place like Disney where you know, you're I mean, you don't want to rest on your laurels or anything, like you're trying to stay competitive and
Mm,
stuff, but you know that you're in a place where they're not going to fire you tomorrow and
yeah,
you are there as part of a team. It really does become like a really nice collaborative environment where
yeah.
everyone's investing in each other and yeah, it is really a nice thing. And I think, but I think, yeah, it's sort of sad because I think that I think it's not that it's about the job, it's really about the artists and
Mm.
stuff. But I think when the job is, you know, a little bit more secure, like now, you know, a lot of these studios, the contract ends after the film and you
Yeah, and
don't
then yeah,
know.
it's just see
And
ya.
then people start, yeah, and then people start getting, I think, a little bit.
It's like that a lot in the gaming industry with video games and stuff. Like a lot of people, like programmers, designers, animators, are just like, right, you're on for this project, and then after the
Right.
project ends, like there's just this huge like wave of just like layoffs. But and
Yeah.
it's just the way of the industry, unfortunately, the way of the world, like the obviously monetary way that everyone thinks and companies think and everything like that, which I feel. I feel was less so of, especially when actual Walt Disney existed, because he was just like
Oh, yeah.
he was like remortgaging his house. He was like getting Roy to kind of like bail him out. He was just like, right, we're in the shit again. We owe like ridiculous amounts
Yeah.
of money, because he just wanted to progress the medium because he had a vision. And I feel like we maybe don't have that as much.
No, I
Like,
think that's exactly it. I think I can't remember. I think I said this in class like last year when I was in LA teaching when we were in class. But I'd met Bernie Madison in LA, and he had worked with Walt like
yeah,
directly, you know.
yeah,
And so this is someone from the old days, like which was really cool. And but he said exactly the same thing. Like he was like, in that day, Walt just wanted to raise the medium and raise the public standards, like teach the public about
yeah.
art and what good storytelling and good filmmaking was and good artwork. And now I think you know, that's what he was saying, which was interesting, is that studios now tend to just want to appeal to the sales. So it's not about raising public awareness. It's about just catering to the
Yeah, I
lowest
mean,
it becomes McDonald's instead of
it
like
is,
haute
yeah.
cuisine, you know. It's
It
like
is. It's but every movie is like this. I think Gabe and I spoke about this before, where it's just every movie is the same now. Not just animation. I'm not just about just Hollywood movies, like movies, your big
yeah,
blockbuster movies. You're gonna get 3 superhero movies a year. You're gonna get 2 very similar action movies with exactly the same storyline. You're gonna get 3 or 4 3D animated kind of just rubbish, and you're gonna get like maybe 1 or 2 rom-coms that are
yeah,
exactly going to follow this exact same path, because they know that they can make money on that, and they're not trying to actually elevate the art form of film and media.
that's it. And the people like the people paying the salaries and paying the bills to produce these films, they're not the artists. They're the people
No,
that are just there to make a profit. To,
yeah,
you know, they want something secure. They want to know like this is going to sell. This is guaranteed. Parents will take their kids to this.
yeah, exactly.
And and you know, the artists underneath that, they try to do the best they can with, you know,
Yeah, but I
what.
mean, if you've got like a 6 month like deadline, and you've got to get so much done in 6 months, there's only so much. As passionate as you could be about a project, like time is, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
limited.
But it would be nice, like it is. It's certainly not the same days of film as it used to be. And but I think it's kind of sad. Like I know it's a business. Like, you know, like you always have to keep that in mind, that it's true. It's a business, and people have to be employed, and they have to make a profit, and they have to do all these things. But I really do miss those days of like in Disney's era or Hollywood in that era.
Oh
That
yeah,
it's really about like making a good film. But I think, you know, all of that, like companies weren't public then, you know. It was really about,
yeah.
so it's like if you could just cover the costs, maybe it was good enough, because it was just about making good films. But now it seems like covering the costs isn't good enough. It's about the value of your shares.
Yeah.
It's about all this money that nobody actually really needs, but they
Yeah.
just want to show that they have more of it in the
Yeah,
bank
yeah,
account,
yeah,
so
yeah.
it's value. Like
Exactly.
So it's really, yeah, but I think like Robert McKee, who wrote this book on story, he's great. I did some courses with him on storytelling and stuff, and but he said the same thing because he's like one of the main like go-to consultants for screenplay writing in Hollywood. But I think he's not working in Hollywood anymore. I think he just does master classes now, but that's his whole theme now is trying to get people to write good stories, not
unique stories, not just recycling stuff. So the book's on Kickstarter.
Yes,
and
it is. And it's, I think I'm not sure now. Like, what is it? I launched it on Saturday.
You're around 35 grand now. I think you need 50 grand, don't you, for the
base costs. That'll get like enough. That was an estimate of like should cover enough for printing and shipping of like a base amount, and then of course it would be great, to like exceed the goals.
Of course, yeah.
I mean, you don't make a huge profit either way, but the more books that could get out there and
exactly,
would be fantastic. But yeah, so it's inching along. I think it did really well on the weekend, but now it's like, I hope, I don't know. I've never done a Kickstarter before, so it's still going along, but I don't know.
Because this obviously is not going to come out today. This is like Thursday. This is going to be coming out on the following Monday. So this is as we're talking now. We're speaking of Thursday the
12th. So the following Monday it will have been out for 1 week on Kickstarter.
Yeah.
And it's I had it for 45. I thought I put 45 days, but I guess it counts day 0 because
it said 44
on the first day. It's like 44 days to go or something.
Because what's really funny, like we've like spoke like months ago about this on like Skype, like about it, and you was like real worried, and he was like, why have it done thingy? And I was like, yeah, that will suck. And he was like, I'm worried about looking stupid if like it doesn't fit. And I was like, yeah, you will look stupid, but at least you've got a good product, you know what I mean? And I was like, you need this to be out there to the masses, and you need to put that out there. So I was like, just do it. And he was like, I know, but I don't want to look. And then like I think like 24 hours in, maybe not even that, maybe like 12 hours in, I was like, dude, you've made 10 grand in a day. Like, don't worry, this is gonna. And he was like, oh, I know, but I feel like it may be plateauing now. And I was just like, shut up! It's gonna with like 43 days left, and you've got you was a fifth of the way there, or whatever it was. And I was just like, don't worry.
I guess I always worry about these things though, because I'm not worried like when it comes to teaching a class or doing a drawing or animating a scene, but I'm not really. I know I'm like really bad at marketing, and people even tell me that. They're like, Sam, you're really bad. So like, so that's what makes me nervous, because like things like this, I feel like sometimes, or sometimes people have a bad product and they super market it, and then everybody gets it, and then they're unhappy with it, but they sold like 500,000 or something. Yeah. And
mention no names. I know exactly what one you're talking about. But Karen.
But I just feel like I believe in it. I believe in it, but then I know that there has to be a business side of it. I know that you have to market these things, but it's like it's not where my people have like left-right brain thing. I don't know, like some crazy scientist worked out the fact that creative people have more of a summit brain than whatever rubbish it is. Okay. And like, so there's a theory on this. It's good to know.
Yeah, and I placed it quite eloquently then, just there, and that was direct from the scientific paper actually. But yeah, it's like people are better at some things than others. You know what I mean? I think you're too nice to market. You're like too sweet and like.
Well, I just don't want to impose
I hope you
people.
like it. I hope it's wonderful. I think it is, but I just really hope that you think it's wonderful too. And it's like you need to be like, this is fucking great. This is the best thing you've ever seen. Like that, and you're just like, I think it's good. I really do think it's good.
I know, but I have this thing where I just don't want to impose on people, people are telling me you've got to email everybody every day until they get a copy. But then I'm like, they're going to hate me.
Yeah,
they're going to be like, oh, it's a Sam email again. Like and I don't want to bother people.
That's the only reason I bought it day one, because I didn't want you emailing me all the time saying, buy it day one, get it over and done with. I'd have to hear from you every day.
But then you get the updates.
Yeah, the updates, yeah.
But it helps, like, if people like I guess that's the thing that it's so hard to know, because I think it's doing okay, and there's still a lot of time left.
It's doing really well.
Oh, thank you. I hope so. And I just get scared though, because some people are like, well, if you hit the goal like right away, maybe people don't want to support it until you hit the goal.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So then you kind of feel like, well, the sooner that you could hit that goal, like if people can help support it earlier than later, it helps, But I mean, again, I don't really know how all these things.
Well, as well with the book. It's not like you've like phoned it in or anything like that. Like you went like got specific models to do like certain poses and things. Am I right in saying that?
Oh yeah,
yeah. You went down and
I went and
you directed them. It wasn't just like you went to a company and said, I want some poses. You actually physically went down there and directed the models and like, right, you stand there, do this, all this. I don't know how to direct someone, so that's not like that.
I mean, it was amazing. Because I guess in a way, like I'm used to working with a lot of models when I'm teaching, but I wanted to get that same. I want the book to be as close to the class that people, that it's not just going to be something where people just see a bunch of lessons, but then they don't really know what to do with it, or something. So, and this place, Art Model Books, like they were amazing. And I went down there and I worked with a dancer, which was great for me because we could speak the same language. And she knew everything. I was like, because a lot of my gesture principles are based on dancer lines. So it was really easy to speak to her and say, this is what I need in the pose. And she just understood right away. And so, so we directed this whole session and got all the poses that are needed for the book, either to illustrate lessons or also to show some demo, because I do a lot of, like at the end of every section, like now that we've learned all these things, like I'll do a step-by-step demo in the book with the photograph there so that people can have that point of, reference. And the nice thing about them is they do 360-degree photographs, so then if it's needed for me to show things in the book, I can show the reverse side.
That's
as well.
Really cool.
So,
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, so it's really fantastic. So that's all like, for the book. And then of course there's my own illustrations, and I even put some of my own life drawings in where I would put notes on them, to show people like this is what I was thinking of when I did this. So I hope it'll, help to communicate all of that. But
I'm sure it will.
It's been a big project. Like it's been almost a year and a half to 2 years that I've been I mean, not working on it full time because I've been teaching and animating and, just working on different projects too. But it's been a consistent.
That's
project.
what I mean. Like, it's not just a fast cash in or my throat went real weird then. It's not just like a fast cash in or like something you're like, oh, that'll be cool. I'll maybe do that. It's like something you're incredibly passionate about. Because like even when we've talked like away from like classes or like even like when we interviewed before, like we just talk, it always comes back to drawing and everything, because that's what your brain, that's what how you live. You know what I mean? You're constantly thinking about like gesture and form and drawing and everything like that. So it's not that you've just gone like, oh, I can cash in and get some money and everything like that. It's the fact that you've got all this like accumulated knowledge from different places, and you're just really passionate. You want to share that, like with your lessons as well. Like I've had the joy and benefit to have studied with you, and although you're not very good at articulating yourself marketing, you're like you get things across and through to people like in a really concise way. You've got a really good way of breaking down something that is just seemingly, when you look at it, you're just like, holy shit, where am I going to start with this? And then you've got this really good way of like breaking it down of like, right, here's what you do. It's not like fluff and like everything. It's like, here's what you do. You know what I mean? You do this, it will be good. You carry on working on this, it will be good, and it's good. You know what I mean? Like I would be nowhere near the artist that I am today. Not saying that I'm like some fantastic artist that everyone should worship me or anything like that, but like I would be nowhere near at the standard I'm at today without you. Like that's genuine, like really genuine.
That's so nice of you to say. Thanks.
Look, I made you go all bashful again.
I know. No, but I really actually thanks. That's why I do it. So thank you. It means a lot. And
it's obvious, like when I've seen you teach and in videos where you're talking about stuff, you're just passionate about this stuff. And like before the show and before we was recording, now I was like, right, you bring a topic, I'll bring a topic, and thinking, you was like, all I've been living is animation and drawing. It's like, because that's you know what I mean? Like this, obviously there's other sides to you, but like this is your like sort of like you live for this stuff. You know what I mean? It's like a thing, and that really comes across in when you're chatting about stuff. So if people want to fund this book, which they do, listeners, get on it.
Appreciated. Thank you.
How did you do that? Go to Kickstarter. Plus, you've been featured as the editor's pick as well. Am I right?
I did. I got staff pick like after 2 days or something.
I told you you're doing well.
It was
Get it
very
in your head.
cool.
You're doing well.
Oh, I hope so. I hope so. I just, like part of me is just always scared, like maybe it's doing really well and then it's going to get to 95% of the goal and then you've exhausted like everybody that would have been interested in it or something, you know?
I'll tell you what, if it gets to 95% of the goal with a few hours left, I promise I will go on and buy another 3 books or something like that.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, Kickstarter doesn't let you support your own project, so you can't.
You're not like
edit the numbers.
15
you know?
of those, and yeah. You can like ring your mum up, like, Mum, you know how you've always wanted a book about Just Inform, like written in a really familiar style, like almost as if it was written by one of your family members. You could do that.
I love that. I'm totally going to do that. That's
exactly.
Great,
Plus, I'm right in saying your parents are like surgeons and crazy stuff like that, so they're going to be like interested. So just be like, your surgeon work, to be honest, it's lacking. It's not as good as it could be. It's really dropped, and I think what you need is a better understanding of gesture and form.
I'll try it with that face. I'm glad I got to see you too, so that I could emulate
you need
your
that face.
performance.
Yeah.
And hopefully.
That's it. So is there anything else you want to say about the book before we move on? This is your platform now.
I think there was something I should have said about it because you're better at talking about it than me, actually. So, if you have ideas, I think that's all of it.
What date is it when it finishes?
Sorry?
Do you know the date it finishes off the top of your head?
The Kickstarter?
Yeah, when like the.
I think it's
the deadline.
mid-April. I think was it April 20th or mid-April sometime? Okay. It was 45 days. Yeah, I think it was April 21st.
Okay.
Yeah, and I don't know. If there's people that are in 3D, it's still a good book for them too because it's the program I teach at the 3D animation studios. So I don't know if that helps, but
yeah, because as well, like we have like actual like we know that there is animators who are working video games who listen to this show. In fact, a shout out to Pete Warbis. He was on our show. Like we did like a special episode 100 show where we rang not all our listeners. That'd be ridiculous. We rang like a few of our listeners and was like and like had them on the show or whatever. And he's an animator. He was working for Telltale. Is it Telltale or Traveler's Tales? Traveler's Tales. Sorry, the ones who do all the Lego games.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
Yeah, so he was working on that, and before that, he worked on Guardians of the Galaxy movie.
Oh yeah.
And yes, so like all of them who are like listening and stuff, like definitely should get on that.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. I think I can't think of anything. I can't think of anything else.
Okay, so buy it. Basically, buy it. Buy it and see. Even if you're on the fence, just buy it. Just buy it.
Well, any support helps. So and spread the word. Share it too. That would help.
It's a huge tome of a book as well, isn't it? It's not like a. It's not like a 50-page like.
No,
leaflet.
Yeah,
it's like
200 pages. Oh, and I really want it to be nice quality, so I've been like looking at the paper and everything, and I guess that's the thing too. If it did get a bit more successful, I definitely want to get like there's certain covers with debossing that I want to get, but that would be like
that'd be tasty,
an extra treat if it was like
that'd be really tasty.
It would be nice, yeah.
It's just nice to just go like.
I do. I like books. I really like nice books. I am a little bit superficial in that way that I've bought books because I just thought they were so pretty.
Oh, me too. Me too as well. And the first thing I do is rip off the daft dust sleeve thing.
And see how nice the book is.
Yeah, it's the first thing I do.
It.
Yeah, because they're like the illusion of life is gorgeous underneath.
It is.
You rip off that cover, like that cover's in the bin. I've chucked that cover away. I don't want to.
It's still a nice cover.
Yeah, but Pinocchio, who cares?
There's like
In fact, it's Pinocchio on the actual book in it, but in gold, like, and it's
yeah, it is actually. It's a beautiful book. Yeah, that's a great book.
It is gorgeous. Right, cool. So we'll end that there for that topic.
All right.
And so we're going to go into you bring the topic and me bring the topic. You being the guest, it can be your topic first.
Oh wait, I had a topic.
I know what your topic is, but I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to tell you.
But I forgot my topic, and we totally established it.
We did totally establish it.
And I was so happy about that.
Yeah. Think hard.
I can't. It's my brain was going back to panicking with the Kickstarter. It's not going to help because now I'm just listening to the sound effects. Can you help me? What was my topic?
That was. Zoom, zoom, choo, 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 zoom, zoom.
Oh, Star Wars!
See?
Star Wars was my topic. How could I have forgotten that?
I'm a sound effects genius.
That's right.
If you need any like stock sound effects for Hullabaloo, just come to me and I'll straight away. If you need some sort of lightsabery thing, it's easy.
That was awesome. I
30 seconds work, no worries. In fact, they can just get it straight from this podcast. If anyone's working on the next Star Wars movies, they can just rip this podcast, use that sound effect, and it's fine.
It's like a royalty free.
Oh yeah, it's out there in the public domain, the Creative Commons or whatever it's called.
You're giving permission.
Yeah. So yeah, Star Wars.
Star Wars.
It's quite.
It's a broad topic, though.
Yeah. So what would you want to talk about? Star Wars.
In particular.
Yeah. What?
Yeah.
Should we rank the movies? An official rank of order.
We could do that. I fear that might come back to haunt us one day, but let's do it.
No. The listeners of this, they're very stupid people. They forget. It goes in one ear and it comes out the other. Like, that didn't offend them because they've forgotten about it already.
That didn't offend any of your listeners.
They've forgotten about it.
Listening to this.
They've forgotten about it already. They're lovely people. I love them.
It's like all your likes are going to go away now. Like, no more likes.
Yeah. I'm not superficial. I don't need likes to tell me I'm a good human being. But please like. Yeah, so ranking the movies. Okay. Well, first of all, let's discuss. What do you think? Did you watch the trailer for the new one?
I did.
And what did you think? Yeah, I thought I wanted to not watch it because I was like, I just want to, because trailers now seem to spoil a lot of things, and you've basically trailers now. Although this was like it was a teaser, wasn't the actual main trailer. Trailers now seem to be the 2-hour movie in 30 seconds, and it's like, well, what's the point in that? But I feel like this was a really good teaser, actually. It didn't give anything away. But it just went, here's Star Wars. It looks awesome.
You know what I would have done, though? I mean, not like I'm a teaser trailer director. And clearly the people that did this would be like, she's so amateur and doesn't know what she's talking about, clearly. But I think I would have just had the shot with the Millennium Falcon.
Oh, how
I think
good.
I would have just done, coming soon, showing the Millennium Falcon, and then I think the best Star Wars trailer I have ever seen, I believe it was the trailer for the new ones. I don't know, I was really little. I just remember being in the theater, and I was really little, and it was just black, and you could hear Darth Vader breathing. And then that was it, and then it was like coming soon, and that was it. Yes. That was the teaser, and I was like, that in my mind is one of the best teasers, and I believe it was for episode 4. Because I think it wasn't. I remember.
Well, it'll have been three, wasn't it?
I remember they were doing, like, in the theaters in Montreal, they had like a re-screening of the classics. Right. I think because they had redone it with, like, digital remastering, and they had that new scene.
Well, that had been like 96. I feel like maybe could have been like when the first remakes came out, where they digitized everything and they added Jabba as an actual creature in the first one instead of a person. Who was in the very first one, like is a person. Obviously, in the second and third one is Jabba, but in the very first one, that scene when they come out the Cantina band and Jabba, he owes him money. Like in the very original one. Jabba is just a bloke,
and that's how they had the footage, and then they digitally remastered
it. Exactly,
yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, so I think that was when they were re-showing that.
Yeah.
And I just remember seeing this trailer where it was
good.
just like, and it was so good, right?
Good,
so
yeah.
I don't know. I think I would have loved to just see the Millennium Falcon, because who doesn't want to see the Millennium Falcon?
The Millennium Falcon's as much as a character as anyone else in that film. You know what I mean? It's like, it's iconic. You see that and you're just like, okay. Same with like Star Trek and with Star Trek, like when you get like a picture in your head, it's not of like a certain character or whatever it is of that bloody daft Star Trek ship. I can't remember what it's called now. Enterprise. Yeah. And it's same with Star Wars, like, but that scene where it's sort of like it kind of went up and like shot. Oh, it was just like,
and seeing the ships also just before it, like that was cool. But I think part of me felt like they were kind of trying, like, there were moments in it that I didn't really see, like why we had to see that stormtrooper being all panicked in the desert, and then people like it's like they were trying to tell some kind of imposing story.
And then there was the ridiculous thing of like people went crazy on Twitter at that dude because he's black.
Oh, is that like, why?
What?
Like maybe that's what they
wanted.
A black
stormtrooper. Ugh. It's like, what? What are you talking about? Like, how is that still a thing in 2015?
Exactly.
That people. It's people are people. I've said this a million times on this show. People are people. You know what I mean? Like black people, white people. People are just people. Different religions. They're just people. You know what I mean? We should treat each other with love.
And there were different, like Jedi have always been all different kinds of
exactly.
people.
Exactly.
And
it's
aliens.
Just like, exactly. You haven't got a problem with aliens who are like the most foreign you can get. Not even of this planet. You're fine with aliens, but like someone who's like, what are you talking about? That's ridiculous. I think as well. Like I think he put like a tweet. I may be like misquoting me, but it said something like something like, yeah, a black stormtrooper, deal with it. I'll get over it or something like that. And I'm like, yeah, that, you know what I mean? That's a good way to deal with that. It's like,
but I think it does sort of reflect that our society is not quite there yet, you know? Like,
no, definitely
people,
not.
Like, you think that you are, and we're not necessarily closing doors on different people, women, racial minorities, whatever. I mean, the truth is, it's even dumb to say racial minority because white people aren't the most populated. Like, Caucasians are not, like, you know, the biggest demographic in the world. And, but yeah, I think, you know, just the fact that people respond, just like how, you know, a lot of women always respond to like, oh my gosh, there's like a woman bounty hunter or something, like it's a big deal. But it shouldn't be a big deal. It's just like, yeah, cool, there's a woman bounty hunter. And it's
like, it didn't even enter my head that he was a black man.
I know,
was just
me
like,
too. I didn't know that was on Twitter.
And it was like he's just a bloke, you know what I mean? Like it's who cares? Who cares? Like literally,
who say like the person, like a stormtrooper, like takes off their helmet and they're like, oh, it's a blonde stormtrooper. He's blonde. That went all over the internet viral or something. Like I would love for people to say, but they don't.
No,
but
exactly.
It's ridiculous, because I don't remember any blonde stormtroopers in the past, so it could have been a blonde
exactly.
Stormtrooper. But I agree, it's kind of, I just feel like there were things that, like, there was no purpose to seeing this sweaty guy stormtrooper, and then they had the shot of the girl, and maybe it's just because they're trying to show that there's a pretty girl in the movie or something. And so I felt like there were things, sorry, not to cut up the trailer, but I was like, I didn't like that part of the trailer. I was like, I don't really see why you're even keeping the spirit of Star Wars. Like, they're trying to show the visual effects. Maybe that's why I get defensive, because I feel that films have now become about selling visual effects than telling stories.
With these, they're using practical effects, like for 95% of it. So it's actually, they're building the sets, they're building like interiors of ships. It's not green screens.
So it won't be like
that's why like everything looked like a bit
really cool.
Yeah, but everything looked like a bit like muddy and like carved up, and there was like
which
stuff was better. Like, which is how stuff would be in real life.
I think J.J. Abrams, like, I think he's a geek himself, you know, I think he appreciates like those kind of things. So I hope, you know, I hope he'll keep to the spirit of.
Yeah, well, I think he said like if he's doing it, it's going to be done the way that the old ones were done, where it's like they build sets, you know what I mean, and everything like that, and it's the way films should be done. But obviously with Star Wars, they've got probably an unlimited budget. If J.J. Abrams was like, right, we need an extra $1 million for this, an extra $1 million for that, Disney are going to go, okay, because they know that this is just going to just
Yeah.
Disney's
They'll
bank
get a
account's
loss
going to
with
just,
the costs.
even just with the new merchandise, the new action figures, is
Yeah.
going to add a few million to Disney's bank account. So they're like not worried about that. Whereas I think the issue again goes back to like how movies is too much of a business now, because practical effects cost more to do. They take more time, they take more labor. Whereas you could get one dude in front of Maya for half a day to model a scene, and it's done. Whereas like if you had to build a scene, you know what I mean, like it's going to take like forever, and then just slap in front of a green screen. Whereas like if you're filming outdoor scenes with like everything like that, you've got to worry about lighting, you've got to worry about this, you've got to worry about that. And it's nice that we have like such a gangbusters film like Star Wars that's still it's that big, but they're still going back to going like, look, we're doing this properly. You know what I mean? We're not just going to phone this in and get an easy 100 mil or whatever it's going to make, or $1 billion at box office, whatever it's going to do. We're going to do this properly, and that's admirable, and the way that the other filmmakers should look at things. I feel.
Yeah, I think so. Like it definitely tips its hat to keeping that legacy and tradition and going back to the old ones. But I hope, like, I think also though the only thing is that now, like, it's just the visuals though in general. Like the visuals look great, but I think that we've just come into a world though where films have become about visuals, like period.
Oh yeah,
it's
yeah.
Like, you know,
that
it's started
about, like, I don't know if it started,
story.
but it amplified with what the hell was that? The Day After Tomorrow. Do you remember that film where it was like, here's every effect we've got this year, and then after then it just became because there was films obviously before that where like, look at our special effects, and it was like, okay, cool, but this was the one that steamrolled the fact of right now every Hollywood film's just going to be like, hey, look what we invented this year, and build a story around that
too. Jurassic Park did that. Like every monster movie basically reuses shots from, and even though Jurassic Park had the technology, like had some technology behind it, so it wasn't like Jaws, you know, where they had to really problem solve or whatever. Jurassic Park did have that technology, but they also they didn't flaunt it. They picked shots very organic. Best tell the story.
It felt like an organic film did Jurassic Park. Definitely.
Now it's like, now it's all being reused, like all these shots and like certain, I don't know. So I feel like people just think if it's really just about the visuals, then that's all that matters. Or like, you know, you see The Hobbit now, and I feel like the Hobbit is just basically an obsession about animated orcs moving cameras. Like exactly, the story doesn't even matter anymore.
It's more of like a hey, look at our cinematography rather than hey, look at our story.
And using the 3D technology, like the amount of bugs and twigs that are you know in the screen, like like I think like in a few years when that becomes a very commonplace technology, we're going to look at these old films and be like, isn't it so cheesy that they kept trying to show things at the screen? You know, it's so those kind of things. I hope that because at the end of the day, if the story is good, I mean, I always like the old school stuff more. Like, I think that also the performances, like the actors in Star Wars, you could see in 4, 5, and 6, they had nothing to relate to in the room, you know, so it's not even their fault that it felt disconnected. Like, I think, you know, it's nice to have a tangible space to...
Well, yeah, I mean, like, it's difficult to act when all you've got is your co-star and a blue or green screen. It's like there's no, you're not getting like the inspiration from the scenery and from everything around, because like if you're not even if you're acting, if you're just a human being, you feel different in different spaces that you're in. You can't help it. It's just people have, obviously we get all this input from our surroundings and our spatial awareness and everything, and like every scene being this like just green screen with like just cameras and tech around you is nowhere near as cool as being like in front of this huge like control console with like this and that and all these like surroundings and like feeling like you're in a spaceship. It's surely going to be able to easier to act like you're in a spaceship if you're actually in a freaking spaceship.
No, totally, because if you can't, like, I did some motion capture work for a gaming studio. I did some for iAnimate, but I also did some like following that for a gaming studio, and it was weird because even though there were directors there, I was in a room and there was no furniture or anything. And they're like, okay, well, you're like, we need you to lean against this table and you're going to be looking at this kind of like a, you know, like a floating, a holographic map, that you're going to be looking at there, but you don't really know like how. So I'm trying to pretend that I'm leaning on a table, and you think that it's over here, but it was a really weird experience.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And so I can imagine even if you're a trained actor, like, I mean, I'm not a trained actor, but it was, I found that really strange. So I can only imagine it would be a big disconnect. But I hope, like, I think at the end of the day, like, a good story, however you choose to tell it, like, some people could make a homemade movie, whether they use CG effects or live props or whatever. Yeah. And if it's a good story,
it don't matter. It's the same with the animation stuff now. Like, the animation's cheaper and everything's just shipped out to Korea or whatever. And in fact, I was watching a Simpsons episode the other day, and at the end, Mo comes on and he was like, I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as the Koreans that animated it did, or something like that. Real self-referential of, like, because they're just done in these, like, they're getting paid no money and they're just shipped out, like, over there and everything. And I thought that was quite funny, actually. But
well, a lot of the work is getting outsourced now. It's true.
Yeah,
it's getting harder and harder for animators in, like, Western countries to be able to compete with.
But I think the story is gone as well, because it's just like, right, we need a funny moment here, we need a funny moment here, we need to make people feel a little bit sad here, then bring it up with a funny moment, end. We need a catchy song there. And whereas before,
it was like everything looks like.
Coherent.
Blown away with the effects and stuff. It's like going in to see a big, like, effects show half the time.
Yeah, exactly. So
I really hope that J.J. Abrams has never given me reason to believe that he would do this with the Star Wars films. I hope that Star Wars will not follow the trends of a lot of these other big VFX things.
I feel like, because they're doing, like, they're going to do, like, a major movie every other year, like 6, 7, 8 every other year.
Okay, so
and in between that, but in between that, they're going to release, just like in between, like unrelated movies, like maybe one that follows Boba Fett or one that follows.
Oh, that
Dash
would be
Rendar or
I've
something.
been so out of the loop while I've been working on my
I've
been like literally cocooned, but that's actually super cool.
And they're saying, like, these are unrelated, these are separate stories within the universe. They're not part of the thing, they're just part of the universe.
Harder, like what
exactly.
With Marvel, you're just kind of doing a little spin-off kind of adventure thing. It's entertaining, it's part of the world, but it's not the core storyline.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's actually cool.
I think so as well, because a huge part of Star Wars, which is something I never really got into, is the expanded universe, the books that, like, it first of all became fan fiction, and then just like they were like, okay, we're going to release all this fan fiction, and then like everything like that, and there was all like different galaxies and stuff that were in there, and that became like a huge part of, like, say that again.
Mara Jade. The girl, do you know Mara Jade, the character? I always just loved her. Maybe it's because I'm a girl. After we talked about all this, like, don't be girly about things, or don't be racial or racially oriented. But
the girls are so pretty.
But Mara Jade, I always loved, because she was like a dual lightsaber wielding Emperor's right hand after Darth Vader, but like secret, and she marries Luke. She's like his wife or something in the extended universe. So I always liked her,
because that's always been a big part, and now that's coming to the big screen, which is kind of cool. So let's get into the nitty gritty. Which films suck, and which films are good? Okay.
Well, we can already just, like, divide in the sense that
we know that the original
4,
3,
5, and 6
4, 5, and 6. Well, 4, 5, and 6 it's always confusing when you're talking about Star Wars, because it's like 4, 5, and 6 is 1, 2, and 3. So it's so 4, 5. The original 4, 5, trilogy are obviously going to be in the top 3 in some order.
Well, I was actually thinking that no, yeah, you're right.
And then the newer trilogy, 1, 2, and 3, even though it's 4, 5, and 6, they're going to be in the bottom half in some order. So we'll work with the crappy ones first, I think.
I'm going to inject something in there, though, because that gives us 6, but I'm going to put kind of like a 7 in the middle, because Star Wars, The Clone Wars, it's animated.
Okay, I've not seen that, but I've heard nothing but good things about it.
Because, if you put, like, for me, I've decided, how kind of, like, Indiana Jones, like we said this, it's fantastic, but we just like to pretend that 4 is not a part of that. You know, like
What are you on
4,
about 4? 4?
4,
The
yeah,
Wonder 4.
exactly. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Okay, okay.
You know, there were only 3 Indiana Jones.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, everyone does
Yeah.
that.
So to me, Star Wars: The Clone Wars, it's like now in my mind in the Star Wars stories, I just have episodes 4, 5, and 6, and Star Wars: The Clone Wars,
Okay.
and there's nothing else.
Well, what's interesting is the they've come out and said, I don't know if it was J.J. Abrams or someone representing Star Wars or something. They've said that all the expanded universe, they're going to be taking like elements from that, but that's not canon anymore. That's not part of the canonology,
Yeah.
whatever the word is there, and that the only things that are part of the canon are the 6 movies plus the Clone Wars. So the Clone Wars are actually part
Plus
of
the
the
Clone Wars.
of the canon. So this kind of counts, even though I've not
because they
seen it.
really stay true to that world. But the cool thing is that, like, I guess because for me, like, one of my favorite things about the Star Wars, like Star Wars, because I love storytelling. Like I've always loved like mythology and storytelling, and that's why, you know, I studied all these, like, I studied it and I love it. And so, you know, when you look at like just the hero's journey, like mythological storytelling, like there's certain stories that we've been told throughout thousands of years of history.
Well, even through religion and everything like that, it started like that.
And there's certain stories that we still consider like great stories, you know, like the Odyssey, or like certain things that represent like the best like journeys and challenges of ourselves or whatever. And I feel Star Wars is like that. Maybe I'm just a big fan.
No, definitely,
The storytelling of it is like, it's that classic journey. And what I always loved about Star Wars, even before the, 1, 2, and 3 came out, is that like the concept of how you were told this story of a hero like Luke Skywalker. And you know how like in story you have your principal character, and then you have everybody else is sort of like a supporting character,
exactly.
right? Like it's like they're there to hinder or help that hero's journey. And then so we grow up like watching these stories, and that Luke Skywalker is this hero, but only to understand that in the greater arc, Luke is like a secondary character.
Yeah,
He's
exactly.
only there to service the redemption of the true hero of the story, the rise and fall and redemption of like our main hero. And so the Anakin to me is such an important character. And so I felt that, you know, obviously I felt very disappointed in the Anakin character in 1, 2, and 3. I just felt like you can't really believe in this character. And when I saw the Clone Wars, how they portray Anakin is incredible. Like,
you've sold me on the Clone Wars. I'm gonna have to check it out.
Oh, have to, because I was like, that is Anakin. That is who he should be, and like, you know, that he was noble and wise and adventurous and a little bit reckless, but not immature, not juvenile, not irrational. And he truly was like the hero that everyone believed him to be, but not unique. Like, he was part of the Jedi, but he was special and better. And then you see through like. And the cool thing about the Clone Wars is that it puts light on how the balance wasn't like Sith or Jedi. It was even the Jedi caused imbalance. It was the whole nature of everything. And so they really go into that in the Clone Wars. And there's a thing, you should watch it because it's so much better when you watch it this way. And I did a rewatch. But they released the chronology of the Clone Wars, so you actually...
right, okay.
It's not in the order.
Yeah.
Seasons. If you Google it, it's like you start with season 3. There's an episode in season 3, and then you watch an episode in season 2, and then you watch
that's really cool,
season 1. So it's a different order, and then some of it goes for 10, 15 episodes in the right order, and then you have to put in another one from season 2.
Oh no, I will do that. I will do it that way.
Yeah, so watch it in the right order because it all falls into place like so well. It's amazing.
Star Wars can't just go 1, 2, 3, 4. They have to faff around with orders, don't they? Like,
I know.
First film, number 4. All right, okay.
I wonder if they did it to give it a feel of like people could tune in randomly and not worry that they. I don't know, but it's so much better in that order, and it was official that they apparently was on their blog or something. They officially released that was the order.
Okay, well, I'll definitely do it that way.
Do it, because to me, I'm like, watch the Clone Wars and watch 4, 5, and 6, and everything else can just get, you know.
So before we discard that hot steaming street trash of a trilogy, the newer trilogies, let's which one is the worst of the 3?
Oh, but I don't know.
I feel
The second.
this. Yeah, I was just going to say the second one because nothing happens.
But I think, see, it's so hard because for me, they all work together. Like, it's so hard to say, well, not the second, because the events of the third could only be because of the second.
True.
So as a whole...
But as a list, we're making a definitive list here. Okay. This is official. This is going on the official Star Wars, but it's not. Nobody cares what we're talking about. But this is our semi-official list that we're doing now. So I think as well 2 is the worst.
I feel bad saying it's the worst though. Like I'm very hesitant to commit to that. But I know. But I think as a standalone.
Yeah. Okay, we'll do this as standalone.
Like it's not the one that I go to rewatch as often. Maybe I'll say that.
Cool flying cars. That's all it's really got.
I just can't say that it's the worst because to me it's not. They're all fantastic. I think they're.
Man up! It's like you're marketing your book now. You're like, I don't want to say anything bad. I don't want to say anything.
It's like this internal conflict because I'm like, it's not the worst. It's just that it's like that transitional part of the story because it's like a whole story, right?
Yeah.
But
I feel that one to me is the worst. So that's number 6.
Okay, so that's
that's
7.
Not
6. Yes, that's 5. You're talking about episode 5.
No. I'm about on our list of from bad to worst. This is at the bottom. This is at number 6.
The list is not the top, like best to worst. It's bad to worst.
Well, this is at the bottom of the list then.
So like.
This is certainly not the best. That one's going at the bottom.
Best at the top because we're only
best
dealing
is at the top. Yeah.
Okay, so then it would be 3, right? Would be 3.
What?
Because 4 would be the Clone Wars on our list. If it's best at the top, like number 1 is the best, right?
No, we're getting confused.
Let's make the list A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
I don't know how that's going to make things any easier for you, but if that's clear in your mind, we shall do that.
Okay, let's call them. Yeah. Okay. So we'll just always make sure that we say episode before the number and list. So if it's like list 1, list number 1 is the best, right?
Yeah. So list 7, which is the worst, because
list 7 is the
list
worst.
7 is episode 2, which is the
no. It has to be 4. It has to be list 4 because remember that episode 1, 2, and 3. Yeah. Oh, you're talking about the new one. You're saying of the new 3 ones, not of 4, 5, and 6. Yeah. Which of the new 3 ones is the worst? Oh, totally 2. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
5, 6, and I was like 5. How can?
No.
How can no. Oh, okay. Yeah, I would even.
Nothing happens in 2. Like
3 are a close tie, though. 3 got pretty bad.
Yeah, but then it's sort of. I think it had more redeeming. More stuff happened. I feel like 2 was just.
Music.
That's true.
That sold it.
And it had cool flying cars, but apart from that, it had nothing else.
Yeah, let's put 2 as number 7.
Yeah, okay, that's what I'm saying. That's where we're.
I know. I totally.
We're confused now.
I'm sorry.
I was like, God, you're really giving 2 like a lot of credit for being an absolute terrible film.
I'm sorry. I was thinking. Okay, yeah, we're going through the old ones, the ones that should be forgotten.
Yeah, the newer trilogy.
Clone Wars will replace them, right? Okay.
Yeah. So 1, 2, 3 in the real Star Wars numbers. Mm-hmm. But like.
Yeah, 2.
4, 5, 6 in the order that they came out. Yeah, so
2 will be list 7, but then I think 3 would be list 6.
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty bad
because I think 1. I mean, like, when you compare it to like the older films, it's a terrible film. But I feel 1. I don't know if it was because when I was at the right age when it came out. I don't know how old I was. I can't remember when it even came out, but I was like at that right age. Where I was probably around Anakin's age, and like the pod racing was cool to me then. And I mean, Jar Jar is like the most annoying character probably that has ever existed, but I was probably in the right age for Jar Jar to be cool at the time, like when it first came out. So I kind of give him a little bit of sort of a bit of a pass. I feel like one is the best out of the 1, 2, and 3.
I think so. Yeah, we'll put 1 as number 5.
Yeah.
I think, and also Liam Neeson was in it. So Ewan McGregor and Liam Neeson. It's the first time that we see Ewan McGregor being. Like,
I liked Liam Neeson. I really like, and Darth Maul was a cool bad guy.
Yeah, he was a cool bad guy.
The twin lightsaber,
Yeah, that was
Come
cool.
on.
That's the one thing I didn't like about the new trailer, and I know that there's been a lot of response like to animated videos and stuff on YouTube with that like hilted lightsaber.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Which
yeah,
to
yeah.
me doesn't make
Yeah.
any sense because if you have a blade that just the touch of the laser can
Exactly,
burn you,
exactly,
why would you
exactly.
have, how could you even do cool moves?
Exactly,
Doesn't make
exactly.
any
No.
sense. I was like, and that's the part that bothered me because I was like, this is like just trying to be like, how can we be cooler? How can
Yeah,
we be more
yeah.
badass? And
It's trying to sell toys rather than
yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
But
So
yeah,
I was
but
like, that's
Darth
not
Maul's
cool.
dual lightsaber thing, that was
That
cool
was
because
cool. That
he
was
could use it as a single lightsaber, and then when he popped out that second one for the first time, he was like,
I know
"Whoa!"
that was cool, and I
Yeah.
do support that. I can support the duo
Oh,
wielding
definitely,
lightsaber. It's pretty
definitely.
cool. So
Yeah.
yes,
So,
those things allow the lack of story to be
oh
a
yeah,
little bit redeemed.
yeah. Darth Maul was cool. I'll
Darth
always
Maul
say
was
Darth
cool.
Maul was cool. Um,
The visuals were cool.
yeah,
There
and
was a lot of cool visuals and stuff, and it's true because it was like that reintroduction to the Star
yeah,
Wars universe
yeah,
again.
yeah,
It makes you a little more excited, but still, I still think they could have cast Anakin, young or old. Their whole like Anakin was
yeah.
wrong.
I
It
agree.
was
I
script, even
totally
the
agree.
script, like not even just the actors, but I just felt the scripting, everything was just
Yeah.
really,
Yeah,
um,
definitely. But yeah, so that's the official bottom of the list, right?
yeah.
So
Okay,
me not knowing anything about Clone Wars, where would
we
you
have
put
to
that
put it
on?
as we'll put it as four
Okay.
because cinematog like the Clone Wars actually like I think the director and the team and people that were working on it, they're like really committed Star Wars fans.
Yeah.
Like you can tell. So it's kind of like I think that they believe like they wanted to be do as good a job as possible. And and there's little like hat tipping things like I've got a bad feeling about this is like
Yeah,
in
yeah,
every
yeah.
episode
Right,
and
okay.
things. So they know what they're doing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I think, like, obviously, just in terms of it being a TV series and everything, it doesn't have the same, like, visuals and cinematography and editing and stuff. But, I mean, again, it's still, I really think for a TV series, it was, like, on the technical level, it
Yeah.
was still done really well.
I mean, yeah, I mean, like when you've got to do 22 episodes a year or whatever, it's a different
Yeah.
story to doing
And-
a standalone film where you've got 5 years to work on it.
Yeah, and apparently, because I was watching the behind, because I was like, I got the box sets. I was watching the behind the scenes, and they didn't even have assets. I think the first season they had to reuse, like they didn't
Right.
have the funding to create new assets,
Mm.
so they'd use the same boxes, but they'd try to light them differently or try to, make
Yeah,
it look
yeah, yeah.
like they weren't. So I
Do
think
the
they
whole
were,
Hanna-Barbera, like...
yeah,
I'm sure I've just seen that scene scroll by and a completely different, like, episode and everything like that, yeah.
yeah. So I think just for that, like for the visuals and for the like obviously the original Star Wars, but I think it should go as 4 because the original Star Wars are like the classics. But it's still pretty good. Like it's better than if you want to see the whole story. I think the Clone Wars gives a better sense of
Cool.
what the Anakin's life was than
Yeah. So the difficult 3 to judge,
yeah,
the original 3,
tough.
is very tough. Because
tough.
I have, like, conflicting views with everyone else. My personal favourite, and I think
Yeah.
this maybe is just because I maybe saw it more when I was a kid, or it's the first one I saw as a kid, I just love the first one. I know it's probably not... It's
I was
probably
going to
not
say
the
though, like
best,
list
but
number 1, I know, but some people say it's like the Return of the Jedi, right? That
Yeah,
they
yeah,
say
yeah,
is
yeah,
the
yeah,
favorite
yeah.
film, and
which I would put personally in number 2.
that's what I thought we were talking about before. That I was saying if we really have to, Empire Strikes Back could be 3, but it's so hard
Yeah.
because they're really. I see them all as like the 3 of them make a complete number
Oh,
1.
definitely. Oh,
know?
definitely. But that's the easy way out.
Yes,
That's the
But
easy way out.
it's a tough one, but I agree with you because I think also like when I remember when I was a little girl, like that was like my earliest memories of like any story that I liked. Like it wasn't like My Little Pony or Barbies or something. It was Star Wars. Like I loved Star Wars and I wanted to play Star Wars when I was in kindergarten, and I loved. I loved it. I totally remember that the first one, and
So are we going like the official order then? Is 1, 3,
Yeah.
2,
yes,
Clone Wars, 1, 3, 2. How weird is that? It's 1, 3, 2, 1, 3,
It
2.
is weird. It is weird. Maybe it's a coincidence. But but that being said, episode 5.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Such a close, like they're all
yeah,
so close.
yeah.
Like it's like it's getting into the realm of the subjective more than the
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. Like I say,
the blanket statement kind of.
yeah. So that's the official list, everyone. That's the official. Everyone else who thinks anything else is wrong. We are right. This is official. It's
But the
that's the way it
first
goes.
one is like as a film
Mm.
too, like as far as the screenplay goes and story arcs, just like technical stuff like that
Yeah.
maybe most of the audience might not
Yeah, 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 yeah.
necessarily be aware of. Like
Yeah.
to me, it's like such a perfectly executed film.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's
Too,
amazing.
just the way that they set it up, the way that the character, the obstacles that the character goes through, like every piece of that film. I just think, yeah, it's such a great.
The death of Ben
film.
Kenobi and everything. It's so.
Yeah,
It's
just
so,
so well done in episode one. Great film. So
Yeah.
I feel like for that reason too. But yeah, for nostalgia reasons, I don't know. I just feel like that one to me was always
Me too. Me too.
very prominent for some reason.
I thought we would disagree on these movies because I thought it was going to be
totally,
like
I respect
3-1-2,
your
but it
choices.
was exactly the same. That's crazy.
It's okay, so we didn't have to get into a fight because
No.
these things get really heated. You know,
Yeah.
it's like religion, politics, and Star Wars.
My internet punch is quite a. I know you're like some sort of judo master, not judo, Shaolin monk.
I did Shaolin and
Yeah.
Taekwondo, but
Yeah.
not judo. I don't think I have the upper body strength to.
I got to black belt in Wadaroo.
Judo.
It's like
In what?
Wadaroo. It's a form of karate.
Oh, cool.
Karate.
That's pretty
Should
cool.
pronounce my teeth.
Very
right now.
impressive.
Not really. It wasn't hard. No, it was. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. Yeah, Wadaroo. It's just form of like I said, karate.
That one, I'm gonna look it up. That's very cool.
All right. Okay. So the final topic, which will probably be
Oh.
a shorter one, because we was before the show. You was like, oh, I don't know what my topic's gonna be. So I was like, we was trying to like riff back and forth and come up with
Right.
topics, and then you hit the Star Wars one. You was like, boom, it's
Just
gonna
a
be the
great
Star Wars
topic,
one.
though. I'm glad we
Perfect.
had
Yeah. Oh,
it.
yeah. Me too. And I was like, we'll just Google. What's a good topic to talk about? And there was a thing called like a random topic generator. So I said for mine, what we'll do is we'll just like roll the dice of the roulette dice of what is going to be our topic. Okay, so what should we do? Should we do like a random like a number? Should we do say 5 and then we pick one from that 5? Because they might be like
because they might be really lame.
yeah, it might be like
You mean like
gravel. We're not even going to say we've mentioned gravel before. Like that's going to be like an in joke.
But
that
for the
everyone's-
record, though, you said gravel. I said ninjas.
That's true. That's true.
So just
Right. So the first one,
I didn't.
uranium bomb, religion in the US, participating in ping pong tournaments. What the? How?
I like that one.
I don't really have anything to say about that. So that's the Israel politician, someone I can't pronounce. And how do you define normal?
I would go with the last because
How do you
I think
define
that
normal?
I think that the other ones can always get to be difficult for.
I've forgotten what they were anyway, to be honest. So I'm glad you said the last one. How do you define normal? Is normal
You
a
have
good
to
thing?
start because this is your topic.
Okay, this is my topic. I feel normal's a bad thing. Like normal should be. This shouldn't be a thing of normal. It should be like a personal normal. I feel like to everyone. Of course, like normal is going to school, going to university or college or whatever, and then getting a job, raising a family, all that rubbish. That's probably the definition of normal in some sort of weird dictionary.
In our society.
Society's dictionary. Whereas normal is very, 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 very subjective. It's the most subjective word probably in existence, because what's normal to me is completely different to what's normal to you, which is completely different. Apart from ranking Star Wars movies, that's normal. That's the normal.
Yeah, that's I think well understood, and there's a right
Exactly.
and wrong to that, and everyone else is wrong.
Exactly. And how when we was talking about Star Wars, like we're saying there was a big thing on Twitter about he's a black black
that's right.
stormtrooper and like things like that. It's like people are into completely different things. Even if we're just talking about entertainment wise, people are into rom-coms, but people can't stand action. But some people that love action can't stand things. It's the same. That's the way that people see that. Like when people say, "Oh, being gay is wrong," or whatever like that. It's like, to me, like personally, it's not something I even like think twice about. It's just like if someone's gay, it's like, all right. I don't know why it doesn't need to be a thing.
Life. So like that's how I see things. I'm like, whatever people's preferences are in life, like whether it's relationships, politics, religion, as long as you're not, I think,
impacting,
you know, it's like,
people
it's like as long as you're not hurting other people, why don't you have the right to do whatever you want?
Exactly.
People won't agree with everything that I do or my own taste, like I mean, honestly, and I think it's true. It's like, even whether you're heterosexual or homosexual, there were people, you know, it's like 100 or 200 years ago, like kings or these like noble men would marry 12-year-old girls, and they would be like 60.
Exactly.
And that was totally normal, and that was totally fine, because they're getting like a good wife that's going to give them lots of kids, and that is so not okay now.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Then people will make judgments on like same-sex marriage or different things like that. So I think
because to me, like, it's
very subjective.
It's just preferences. Like me, I've said this before on the show as well. I'm just not into blondes. You know what I mean? Like blonde girls. It's just not. I don't know.
So you're like racist against blondes.
Yeah,
basically.
Terribly racist. Yeah, I'm not sure blonde is a race, but okay.
So it's as much as race. Hair color is as much a race as skin, right?
Like, I suppose so. Like on paper, I mean, it is bizarre on paper. That, like, yeah, I suppose so. Yeah.
DNA writing.
So yeah, I suppose. Yeah, you're right. So. Yeah, I'm incredibly racist towards blonde girls.
It's okay to say on the internet that you're blonde racist, but it's not okay to say that you're like racist against.
But to me, it's like that. Like, I might be into men. I'm not into men, but if I was into men, it'd just be the same as the fact, like, oh, I don't really like blonde girls. I'm more into brunettes or whatever. And it's like that to me. It's just why is it any different? Or it's like. Like transgenders and stuff like that, it's like they're not feeling happy in their body, and they want to make a difference in that, and that's fine, because they're their person and they can do whatever. I'm not going to judge anyone. I know like a transgender person, it's like he's just a person, you know. It's
just kind of like a funny thing though, like how we draw the line, because it's like, like there's a lot of issue with transgender surgery. But then nobody's going off about how, like, everyone, like, all these celebrities that are selling products to us are getting nose jobs.
Or, like, boob jobs and everything like that.
Or boob jobs, or, like how it's really popular more in the Asian countries, but you can get your legs smashed and have the bones extended, you know, to get longer legs, or just, like, getting... like brows made on your eyes, or facial reconstruction.
You actually sent a chill down my back when you said that. I had a legit like down my spine.
Yeah, but it's like, you know, but that nobody's being judged.
No, exactly.
Because and people are like, well, you know, if it makes them feel more beautiful, if it makes them feel happy, that's fine. But then when it comes to like a transgender situation or something, then everybody's got an opinion about how it's not right for somebody that probably isn't even a part of their lives. And even if they were a part of their lives, if it's your friend, like, it's the brain, I think, that's the person.
I was just going to say that exact thing. Like the connection between people is not the connection between somebody's knee or somebody's breast or somebody's, well, it could be. But like, all
you're
between,
like,
well, yeah, the breast kind of, I can see that, but no, it like the it's not like, it's not a relationship between like body parts or anything. It's a relationship between brains, like friends. Like, I like people for who their thoughts and their like experiences and the things that they tell me, and the way that they make me feel, and that's what a friend is to me, rather than even like boys tend to have boyfriends and girls tend to have girlfriends, like for actual friends, not boyfriends. It's confusing when you're talking about friends,
like relationships.
Yeah, and it's like, it's, to me, it's just brains. That sounds weird, but yeah,
I agree. Like, unfortunately, we're not there yet, because even the people that don't discriminate, they'll still raise their voice in support of, you know, just the fact that we still make those comments. Like, isn't it fantastic that there's a girl superhero?
It shouldn't even be said.
Yeah. Or like I know like because I've gotten asked it a lot. Less so now because in 3D there's like now I find there's a lot more girls that are animators, but for some reason in 2D there weren't a lot of us. And then people would always ask like, what's it like to be a woman in animation? It's like, well, I don't know. What's it like to be a guy in animation?
Yeah.
Like,
What's it like to be an
they ask
animator is
that.
the only
Yeah.
question, really.
So it's just the fact that those questions are still asked, like even if it's not in a discriminatory way, we're not quite there yet. But it's true. Like I think it is our brain. It's our brain that represents like our beliefs and how we treat people and social values and like I think a lot of the old concepts. A lot of these concepts, at least on sexual like discrimination and stuff, are probably based more though on procreation. Like when the church was very like prominent in society, it's like you can't have male and male relationships because you're not going to procreate. You're not going to expand our country and our people and our and whatever. So it's not allowed. Like I mean, and the same thing with like women having to look a certain way, or because women were property, and so that it was ideal to be 12 years old because you would birth a lot of children for the man that owned you or something. But that's not really our world anymore. But we're still living in some. I don't know.
It's still like as far as people say that we've come, like. We're still not even a quarter of the way, I think, to it, because like you said, because it's even like when people learn about like racism and stuff like that, and they're like, oh well, some people give extra credit and extra benefit for someone because of the race, and they feel like they're not being racist, but they're being like the opposite. It's still racist, but in you know what I mean, it's weird.
Way. Yeah, no, I know what you mean, and I think it's like. Yeah, because there's clearly still a distinction. Like the bottom line is that people are still making that distinction. So
and especially like if someone says, "Oh yeah, I'm pro gay marriage," as long as they don't come near me, or as long as they don't touch me, it's like that's the what do you mean what do you mean?
Because it's still saying that like someone is a different person than you,
or saying that someone because they're gay they're predatory. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, he's gay, but you better not come near me. Yeah, but not all gay people run up to people like male and just start grabbing their ass. You know what I mean? It's like,
but I think it's just that label. It's just by labeling things, because nobody labels you because you say you don't like blondes. Exactly, like nobody says, oh, he's a brunettophile.
I may have got slapped by a couple of blondes for saying it at some point, but
but there's no label. Like there's a label for like men that prefer men or women that prefer women, but there's no label for men that prefer brunettes and women that prefer blondes or something. No. Like that's not that we don't label it, so it doesn't exist as judgment, but we label those things. I don't know. We're still not. I mean, I think some places in the world are, certainly better. Like I think that's why I really believe in education. I just think it's really. I mean, not that everyone has to have like career oriented. Not that everyone's got to pursue a like career education or something, but I think it's important that we have educated societies. I think it helps people to read between the lines a little bit more, and not just accept quick judgments or whatever. I think we have tribal tendencies no matter what, because even if those things were removed from society, especially like with our population getting so big, it's always going to be like my team against your team, even in little things, it's like the people that don't like Star Wars, like how can we relate to them? Can't be friends with those people. So there's always going to be like
medieval torture is okay in that case. Like that's totally fine. Like the rack until like stretch them out until they.
Star Wars. I mean, that's a choice that their brain is making. That's not something that they were born into.
Exactly.
So you can't.
So we can discriminate against them. But yeah, like it's just a strange one, I think, and yeah, we're just not there. We're just not like there's so many. I think you were saying about like education being important. I completely agree. More of the kind of social education and like
social, like the people need to be made aware. Like, doesn't it mean that you have to go to college to study to be this? Or
no,
something?
I think it should just be ingrained within education. Yeah. Whereas I feel like maybe, I mean, I may be wrong in saying this, but I think like obviously you're a creative type, I'm a creative type. spent from the age of like 6 or whatever until like now. As a guitar player, I've spent the past however many years as a professional musician since I was 17. I've been a professional musician for that long, and like obviously I'm like big into art and everything like that, and I feel like creatives are a bit more open to the idea of like this kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? I don't know if
I suppose because you're in something where you're forced to constantly be practicing and learning. Like the concept of learning is always there. But I think also creatives can be myopic, you know, like it can depend, because you can get really caught up in just what you do, that you like socially or as a person. I think it depends on the person, maybe, and maybe that's another topic. Maybe it's also that not everyone that's in a creative field is creative. Maybe they're just like, that they're focused on a discipline of it, but they're not necessarily as a person a creative.
Because I think like the governments hate creatives, because creatives like throughout history have been the ones who've gone like, no, why should we do that? Why should you tell us to do that? It's throughout history, like governments hate like creatives, and that's sort of. I mean, it's maybe different now. Say that again.
Anarchists.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like I feel like, I mean, when I was growing up, it may be different now. I mean, Layla's not started school yet; she starts in September, and I'll probably see whether that's that. But I felt like when I was there was like a bias to sort of get rid of the creative somewhat to more like the academic kind of things. Like I was always labelled as stupid and everything like that, because I understood the things. Like the teacher always used to say to my parents, I'm really intelligent, but it's just I get bored and I'm just like I don't want to do that thing. So like I got labelled as stupid and everything like that because I was like creative, or it's like there's like someone who's like the worst mathematician in the world and at the bottom of math class, maybe the best dancer in the world, natural dancer, or maybe the best natural snooker player, or you know, like any, like they may just have this random natural gift, and if that's not flourished, then that's just wasted away, and that's the saddest thing in the world. Like
I think we're coming out. I think that's the thing, is probably education, like especially in high school and elementary school. Like I think that it might, like, you know, we came possibly through a more standardized culture system, and I think now people are being more aware of that. You know, because you do see that there's like arts high schools. You know,
that's true. Yeah,
things like that now, where education is becoming. I feel like I'm not really able to speak properly on that subject, because I was really, like, my parents sent me to this private school, and when I look back, I'm really grateful for it, because, you know, we had things like I never considered myself to be a language person. Like,
but can't you speak like 3 full languages or something?
Yeah, like now I can speak a few languages, but just because it happened more, I guess the thing is, learning it in school didn't catch my interest. Maybe it was the way it was taught, but then out of necessity, like living in, like, I mean, I learned French my whole life, but I feel like I really grew into speaking French when I was living in France. And then the same thing in Spain. I didn't know Spanish and I had to learn it, but I always grew up in school thinking I was like a Bobo language person, you know? But math was my strong suit, and the school that I went to, you know, the cool thing was that there were 4 of us in our whole grade that were a bit more adept at not necessarily economic math, but more just like the physics and so they started teaching us calculus. Like we got university credit. So by the time I was like 13, 14, I was taking calculus classes. So they could do that for us because it was a private school. They weren't so arts related though, in terms, you know, me being able to expand myself as a visual artist. But I did appreciate just the adaptability that they were trying to be a little bit, again, more in a career-oriented academic approach, but they were trying to be not just saying, like, you have to do this class this way and that's it. Like, they were like, okay, you guys seem to, you know, this, we could push you in this way. And so they had that for us. I don't know. So I think, like, to me that, so that's why I feel like it's hard to know, because I talk to other people that I went to university with or whatever, and they say different things about their growing up experience. So I can't really say I know what the school system is like for everyone.
Because I feel like I've learned 10 times more about subjects that was taught at school, post-school, because I've been interested in them. Like, for me, I always get, like, crazy. I've got, like, a thing I've coined as selective autism, where, like, I'll focus on one thing and I need to know everything. Like, I'll need to about that thing. I did it with guitar. Like, with art now, I'm just like, I need all this information, like, from everyone I can possibly get. And I get like, I have to know everything about whatever I'm into. And like, obviously that was discouraged when I was growing up. And
you have access to control your learning now, though.
Yeah.
Maybe growing up,
and I've learned millions more.
Resources weren't there, or you didn't know. You're younger, so you don't know, how do I learn this if it's not there for me at school? What do I do? And now you have that access, so you can teach yourself in the way that, like, everyone learns differently. I think that's the one thing that.
Oh yeah.
I've always appreciated the teachers that learned to adapt to the students instead of forcing the students to adapt to them.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big. I hope that's a philosophy that's changing in general in education. I mean, you hear about it. Like, I hear that these kind of progressive ways of learning are getting a little bit more trendy now. I don't know. But yeah, that's probably what it is, though, because you could teach yourself in the way that you knew you could learn and appreciate it.
The internet's made things easier as well, because I can get access to any information whatsoever. We're talking, you're in Canada at the moment, and I'm in England, and we're communicating as if we're in the same room.
Which is very cool.
You get lost in it as well. Like we've been talking for a while now, and like, it doesn't seem like we're talking to a computer screen now. It does now that I've just made it like a thing.
But
I'm like, there's a keyboard.
I still feel like it's you there. But I know but it's
like,
amazing.
I was just lost in that conversation then, as if we was just both sat on your sofa with the lovely pillow behind you.
Isn't it a great pillow?
It is a great pillow. It is a great pillow. So I feel like we've kind of exhausted everything, and we're doing like what we normally do, you and I, where we just digress and just talk about like random stuff like that's got completely away from normal. We're in education.
I know, I was going to say, I was like, we're on a different topic.
Yeah, so yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on, as always. Like, I love talking to you.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, anytime. Like I said, it's above and beyond anything. Like, the whole art thing, what we're doing now, everything like that, that's all cool. But like, the coolest thing is that we're like, I consider you my friend, and that's awesome. Like, to me, you know what I mean? Like, it's really cool. But yeah, so again, check out Samantha's book on Kickstarter. It's phenomenal. Like, it's great, and it's doing well. And you are gonna think. I know you're like worried about like not hitting your goal and everything. Like, you're gonna do it easy. You're gonna shoot past that goal. So yeah, everyone go and support Samantha. She's just like great work, absolutely fantastic work. And yeah, it's been great. We've like I said to you before we did the show, I wanted it to kind of like be like a glimpse of two people talking, rather than like a like interview thing of like me going, so blah, 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 and you're going, yes, well, and I feel like we bypassed the fact that it was on a podcast then, and it's become like a thing. So yeah, so everyone, thank you.
Conversation.
Exactly. So everyone, thank you for listening and watching, and however else you've consumed this, go check out Sam's stuff, and go to nintendosushi.com. Go to nintendosushi.com/Cooper Club, and you can join the Insider Club, where you get the show early, you get extra shows that only go there and everything like that, starting from only $1 a month. So get on there, nintendosushi.com/shop. So cheers, Sam, for coming on today.
Thank you so much.
I'll speak to you soon.